Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
Welcome back into the Outlaw Lawyers. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, your hosts, are the managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Offices conveniently located for you: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and in Morehead City. If you've got a legal situation, you've got questions, again, we get it. I mean, a lot can be going on in your life. You might need some answers to those questions. You can always call the firm, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. You can always email your questions to the show, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. Gentlemen, where are we going next?
Well, Morgan, I thought it might be useful, again, when we sit down to do this show each week. You know, we like to talk about things in the news, right? We did that today. We talked about that affirmative action decision that came down. But we also like to talk about things that we see in our offices, right? So we like to talk about, if somebody comes in for a consult, it's I'm always thinking in the back of my head, if this person has this issue, if this person has these questions, there's probably a lot of folks listening to us that have similar questions, similar issues. And, of course, we can't give legal advice over the airwaves here, but we can kind of, give people some information, right? And that's what we try to do. We try to be useful. We want you to know us. We want you to remember us. If we can ever be of service to you, I hope you give us a call. But the goal here is to give you information. And so I had several consults over the past 2 weeks where someone came in with a problem, usually some kind of breach of contract, a dispute, what I would call a civil dispute. And so we talk about attorney's fees because that's a real thing, right? We've talked about that several times on the show, how attorneys get paid, right? You get in a car accident, an attorney might take case on a contingency, meaning you don't owe them anything if they don't recover for you and they take a portion of your recovery. It's called a contingency. On the business law side of things, contract law, civil disputes, a lot of times attorneys get paid hourly, right? That's how most attorneys get paid for that work. And every attorney has a differently hourly rate they charge. It's kind of all over the map. You get an attorney right out of law school, they might be on the cheaper side. You get the attorneys with 20 plus years of experience, they might be a little more expensive. But anyway.
And then you get the outlaw lawyers.
Attorney's fees. That's something you have to be aware of. And so a lot of people will come into us and say, maybe they've got a civil dispute, a breach of contract, and it's, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. And you talk to them about the benefits of litigation versus negotiation. Because sometimes you don't have any choice, right? Sometimes the other side, if let's say they owe you $1 million and they say, I don't owe you anything, I'm not giving you anything. Well, there's not much room for negotiation. Litigation kind of has to happen, right, Joe? You kind of have to sue in that situation.
Yeah, there's a cost is important, right? And for us, at least, I don't know. Maybe some attorneys are going to try to hard sell you no matter what. But I'm always very conscious when I'm sitting down with somebody of, litigation is going to cost you a lot of money just because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, energy, resources. If you're talking about, like you said, a very experienced, knowledgeable, reputable attorney, they're going to have staff, and it just costs money, man. It's just a timely process, and that's just the nature of it. And the majority of attorneys that are handling litigation, and let's take out contingency fees out of the equation, the majority of times, if you're litigating, you're going to be paying someone hourly, and the time builds up. So you're talking about thousands, if not tens and thousands of dollars to pursue things, and they may not even be. We have to tell folks all the time, and I know I do, Josh, and I'm sure you do too. We have folks who come in and you're going to litigate, and you're going to have some form of damages, right? And you talk to somebody about, like, what's the amount of money that's at issue here, and a lot of times it's going to pale in comparison to what they're going to spend to litigate the issue. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. And And that's one of the big things. They come in and be like, hey, what are our damages? What are we looking at? And litigation has stages. There's, your complaint and your answer. There's your pleading stage. There's can be a very, depending on what, are you in federal court? Are you in state court? What's it over? There can be a fairly lengthy discovery process, interrogatories, requests for admissions, depositions. And then there's a trial phase, but usually in all courts, there's off ramps, right? There's usually court mandated arbitration in district courts, mediation in superior courts. The courts don't want things to go to trial if there's any way to negotiate, mediate, arbitrate. So there's all these opportunities to get the parties together and say, look, we're all spending money, but sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you're dealing with a party who just won't negotiate whether they're right or wrong, and you get stuck and you end up going to trial, and it's, there's costs involved. But it always, I've had consults before people come in and they were like, well, we want a pit bull, we want a pit bull attorney. We want to sue. We want them to know pain, and that's just not how an experienced attorney.
Have you had somebody tell you that you want them to know pain?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Legal pain.
I want them to feel the most legal pain they can feel.
And sometimes aggressive litigation is the only avenue the opposing party gives you, but it's not always the answer. It's not always the smartest, most prudent way to go. Because I've had that conversation too with folks, throwing, like you said, Joe, when someone sits across the table from me, I think about when I was a kid and when, I grew up in a family that luckily we didn't need it. Hopefully you don't need an attorney a lot, right? Most people, you need an attorney to help you close on the house, estate plan. But, if there's divorce or criminal charges or, estate administration, things happen where you need an attorney, but hopefully you don't need an attorney a lot, just in your normal everyday life. But I remember my parents having to go to an attorney, and attorney's fees were no small thing for my family growing up. And so I try to treat everybody that I meet with the same way and be very honest about fees, be very honest about what things cost, and make sure that those things are necessary. Me and Joe, we're not used car salesmen. So we're not trying to get you into a litigation, matter when you don't have to be. But, there's always not always, but a lot of times there's other ways to approach problems. And that was really kind of my point today when we talk about this litigation versus negotiation.
Yeah, we're always going to try to do it in the most cost-effective way. That's the thing. If you're our client, we're counseling you. Yes, it's a business for us, but at the same time, part of our job is to help you handle this. And obviously, we're going to represent your interest to the best of our ability, but we're also going to try to do that in the most cost-effective way possible. And that's a big goal for us here.
Well, and as you guys said, you talk about the fees. It's not like it's going to be a big surprise. You're going to talk numbers, and you're here to help. That's what you guys, you're in this business to help people.
That's why I'm doing it. I don't know about Josh, but
no, I think
personally, that's why I'm here. Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of attorneys get into it. I think a lot of attorneys, want to help. That's one of the reasons they get into it. And, we get a lot of satisfaction out of that because I think we help a lot of folks, and we're in a lot of different communities, and we've gotten to meet a lot of people, help a lot of businesses, and that's certainly right up there. And our goal is always that's the number one thing. You come in to meet with us, we're going to try our best to help you. We're going to try our best to be an advocate for you, a counselor for you, to be on your side and to help you with whatever situation you brought to us.
And we don't know if you come into the office and you meet with Josh, if he's going to have the Barry White music playing, he's going to have that low voice going.
Oh, he's going to be doing that.
Is he?
He is. And he's going to be sad. He's going to have eyeshadow on. Thanks for coming to visit me.
Look,
he's just got it going, man. He's got it.
The next time we sit back down, I'll be
You've got
100%.
No, I love it, man. You got the vibe going today. Listen,
I don't love it. You're making me sad, man. You're making me sad. I'm sad now,
We'll
too.
be right back on EOR Radio. No, this is the Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, managing partners there at the firm, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. And again, offices conveniently located: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. If you've got a legal situation you're facing and you need some answers to some questions, you can always call the firm, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what that call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And you can always email us here at the program, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. We'll answer those questions on a future broadcast. We're back to wrap it up right after this.